Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel here on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh, with another episode of What's in the Bag. And I pulled out something that it's kind of complicated. But first we're gonna get a dip of some Stokers here. Yeah, boy. Cheers, everybody. All right. So back in when was it? I don't know what was this for. This is an artistic resume of some sort. I think I was applying for a grant, or I must have been applying for a grant. So, anyhow, this is kind of my resume as of 1997 in the theater world. So it says, Patrick Walsh, it gives my address. I have been very active in the Peterborough artistic community since 1993 and have worked in theater, dance, musical performance, and recording as outlined below. A book of my scripts, 3 plays, was published by Ordinary Press in 1995, and I have recorded extensively with local micro-label Backlash Recordings. 11 of my original scripts have seen full production in various local theater venues. I have been involved in one way or another with the underground press for the past decade. I have been published in and produced independently published journals whose readership has included most of the Western world, including the vast networks of inmates throughout the prisons of North America. Included most of the Western world. All I mean by that is my magazines. I sent them out all over the place, but very small deal. That's kind of hyperbole, I think. But anyhow, I was applying for a grant. So performed written works. These are plays that I wrote and put on. Starting in 1997 at the Union Theater. The real Union Theater closed in 1996, but we had a secondary space that we used for about a year, and we called it the New Union, and it just didn't work out. But some cool plays happened there. So January 1997, my play Breaker Breaker, which was based upon CB radios and stuff like that. It's a very strange and kind of violent play. It was produced, in 1997 at the Union Theater. North End Parquet Breakdown, directed by Stephanie Corinne, October 1996 at PND, the space. PND stands for Peterborough New Dance. What North End Parquet Breakdown was a script I wrote that got translated into dance, like, if that makes any sense. Stephanie read the script, concocted a series of movements based on the script, and that's what happened. It was a good show. Pent, directed by Stephanie Corinne, August 1996 at the Only Cafe. Pent was much like North End Parquet Breakdown. Pent was a script I wrote that was translated into dance. It was a very, very violent script dealing with family dynamics in an abusive, dysfunctional home. It had 5 dancers. The music was 5 electric guitars. Pent. Pent stands for a lot of things. Pent up anger, pent up emotion, pentagram, all kinds of stuff. Caldwell's Second Testament, directed by Patrick Walsh, June 1996, performed as part of Airing at the Only Cafe. Now, Airing was when the Only Cafe is this bar I worked in, and the upstairs was converted into a really nice theater called the Gordon Best Theater. But during the construction, a bunch of us got together, wrote little wee shows, and put them on in various spots of the construction in the theater to be. Caldwell's Second Testament. That's probably my favorite play I've ever written. It was performed by my friend Karan Garside. Playpen, directed by Patrick Walsh, June 1995, the Union Theater. Playpen was this fucking crazy play I wrote. Absolutely absurdist. Featured 3 full-grown males in diapers. Had a lot of swearing. It was a fun show. Like, it didn't really. A lot of the audience went away going, "What the hell was that?" But it was a very entertaining show. No one will deny. I had a 2-week run of it, and it was sold out every single night. So it was good times. Playpen. Ray Ipsa Locateur, directed by Patrick Walsh and Wes Ryan, March 1995 at the Market Hall Theater, and in August 1994 at the Union Theater. That was a little script I wrote that Wes and I we choreographed movement for it, threw a little music into it, a little harmonica. The title is Latin for "Let the Good Times Roll," as far as I know. So it's also a very strange script to describe. And speaking of other strange scripts, Day for Non, that's probably my most well-received and liked play. It also saw a production in 1998 at a toy store. So, and it's a completely, it's like I said, I don't know if I said, but a lot of my theater is really influenced by the 1920s Dadaist movement, and Day for Non, DAE for NON, was very much rooted in that style. So it's a cool show. I hope I can find the script for it. SPT, or Sodium Pentothal Twitch, directed by Patrick Walsh, May 1994, performed as part of El Diablo a Go-Go at the Union Theater, which was three short shows. All 3 of them were very extreme. It was a crazy show, and Matt Gilbert, a local actor, acted in it, and he did a really great job. It was basically just a big monologue. Full Circle Shatter Cycle, which was text I wrote for a dance piece, directed by Anne Ryan and Christine Keating, March 1994, performed as part of Emergency 2 at the Market Hall Theater. And that was just another kind of intense script I wrote, and I got to play really heavy electric guitar in it, which was cool. Insurrection, directed by Patrick Walsh, May 1993 at the Union Theater. And that was a play, short vignettes about the struggles of working class people in Canada. Hold on. Insurrection saw a second staging. This was a few years ago. This probably would have been 2016 this went on. But this is the poster. Insurrection by Pat Walsh. There you go. So yeah, this is the second staging of Insurrection. And yeah, it was an interesting script. The second production of it, I felt, was far superior to my production of it because I kind of bent the rules a bit, and the second production stuck to the letter of the script, and I thought it was really cool to watch that. And my first play I ever put on was a play called Rice, which was a complete. It was about 15 minutes long, and it was just absurd. It was my first foray into playwriting, and it was a very absurdist show. Now, this is a part. This is only up to 1997. That's 11 of my scripts. I've had double that of my scripts produced in Peterborough. A lot of them very short scripts, part of festivals, things like that. But we'll just deal with this here now. So that's my theater career, writing up till 1997. Theatrical performances. I was in a play called Quasi-Rat Overture. I was Rat number 861, written and directed by Kathy Petch, January 1997, at the New Union Theatre. This all goes backwards. Seton. I was a musician, various tramp, like I played a variety of tramp characters. I was a calf, an ox, and a woodcraft Indian. Directed or written by Philip Cummel, who was a playwright of note in Peterborough. He moved away. He lives in Hamilton now. Goes by the name of Pip. It was directed by Susan Spicer, August 1996, Fourth Line Theatre. And I'll tell you, that summer was the best summer job I ever had, because I got paid handsomely to basically score, like myself and my friend Brian Sanderson wrote the music for this play and acted in incidental roles. So we basically spent the summer scoring a 2-hour play, and in a beautiful farm theater. Every day was a blessing. It was so much fun. The Napalm Queen. I was a wino, written by Kathy Petch, directed by Scooter, who's now known as Wes Ryan. June 1996, the Union Theatre. Human Genome. Writer, reader, collectively written. I helped write that. Directed by Brian Matolo, February 1996, Union Theatre. Yeats Ghosts. I was a young man, written by W.B. Yeats, directed by Alexis Gordon. Alexis, R.I.P. He was a theatrical mentor to many of us here in Peterborough. Amazing. So I got to be in a W.B. Yeats play by him. Ball, written by Bertold Brecht, directed by Karan Garside, October 1995 at the Union Theatre. I played the lead role of Ball, who was a drunken bisexual poet who ravaged the landscape, drinking, reciting poetry, and fornicating with whatever moved. Basically, it was a totally debauched play. We were all heavy drinkers at the time. People would black out on stage. I fell asleep on stage once. One of the other actors fell asleep on stage. It was like a very debauched, but very, very fun play to do. People loved it. It was an experience. Showdown, Camp of Sports, various small roles. Written by Philip Cummel, directed by Ryan Kerr, May 1995 at the Union Theatre. Now, Showdown, Camp of Sports was an absurdist play written about hockey. Philip Cummel is a huge hockey fan, so he wanted to write an abstract, absurdist play about hockey. It was really weird. We painted the theater like a hockey rink, and yeah, it was this very strange show. I'm not sure if I liked it, but I acted in it anyway. Circa Cummings, which was a wonderful play written and directed by Joshua Meisner, who's moved he's long gone from here now. February 1995. Circa Cumming was kind of a crime drama. It could have been easily an episode of CSI or something like that. It was all about a serial killer. It was interesting, but it was more of a TV show than a play. The Caucasian Chalk Circle. I was a singer. Written by Bertolt Brecht, directed by Tim Kreese, September 1994, Union Theater. See, we used to do a Brecht play. Like Ball was in October 1995, Caucasian Chalk Circle was September 1994. Every autumn, we would try to put on a Bertolt Brecht play. If you're not familiar with Bertolt Brecht's writing, I suggest you check it out if you like theater at all. The Real Inspector Hound, written by Tom Stoppard, directed by Ryan Kerr. I was a character named Bird Boot, a critic of sorts. July 1994, Union Theater. Mathematics, co-director, performer, written by Hrant Elianak, I never remember how to pronounce his name. May 1994, Union Theater. I've done another video that I haven't posted about mathematics. It was an interesting play. No characters, no dialogue, just basically a number of random objects being thrown out of a house window. Lasted 3 minutes. It was an interesting show. It disappointed many theater goers who thought they were going out for a nice night at the theater, and the show was over 3 minutes later after they got in the door. It was fun. Keep People as Pets. I Was the Man. Written and directed by Scooter, Wes Ryan, July 1993 at the Union Theater. I don't remember that one very well, but it was. I did it with Wes. It was fun. So I was in a play called From the Window, FTW. It was basically a show, like a play about one of the two writers spent some time incarcerated in a Canadian prison, and this was written basically from his experiences. There was many critiques of it, a lot of inconsistencies with what actually really happens in Canadian prisons, but it was a fun show to do nonetheless. And I played a protective custody prisoner, which essentially I was a child molester in the play. And in most prisons, child molesters are hated and smashed on sight, kind of thing, right? And that's what happened to me. I basically walked out and got shanked, and that's what happened. But it was a great play to work on. When we did the original production at the Union, we made the theater look like an actual range on a prison with like sliding bar doors and all kinds of stuff. It was incredible. And then we tried to recreate the experience in March 1993 at the Market Hall Theater, and it wasn't quite the same, just due to the larger space, stuff like that. From the Window, that was kind of cool. Through a Loudspeaker Unwillingly, which was written by Phil Kummel and directed by Alexis Gordon at the Market Hall Theater in October 1993, and I was the CSIS agent. That was a very absurd play written by Phil Kummel, all about CSIS and government monitoring of the common citizen, stuff like that. Also written by Philip Kummel and choreographed by Diane Gallagher. I played the character of Suit in a show called Danse la Pipe Bombe, Now, what this was Phil and a couple other friends of mine had this really, really heavy band for 1993. And they did a dance, basically, based on a couple of the songs. And I had to, on the album, the album closes with a spoken word poem that I wrote. And so I basically did that poem on stage. So, right, musical direction, composition, theatrical music direction, composition. Seton, which I mentioned before. I did music for a show by my friend Anne Ryan called When a Happy Thing Falls, which was about her divorce with Wes Ryan. It was performed in May 1996 at Studio 303 in Montreal, and in July 1996 performed as part of Airing, the only cafe Airing I mentioned before. I played harmonica. I wrote the music and played harmonica for Anne in that, and it was a wonderful experience. Portraits, musical co-director, composer, and performer. Choreographed by Anne Ryan and Esther Vincent, performed as part of Emergency 4 in March 1996 at the Market Hall Theatre. Every year since I've lived here, I think it started the year I lived here, Peterborough New Dance has put on this yearly showcase of new dance talent called Emergency, like emergence, whatever. All those shows were fun, the emergency shows. Passages, musical co-director, composer, performer, choreographed by Anne Ryan, November 1995 at the Market Hall Theatre. Also likely an emergency gig. No News is No News. And this was the Montessori School Christmas show. I was the musical director. It was directed by Scooter, Wes Ryan, December 1994 at Union Theatre. And this was a show we wrote for the Montessori School children at Christmas time. And they came out to the Union and performed it. It was great. I don't remember it well, but I know it went really well. Day for Non, which I mentioned before. The very first production of it was in 1994 at the Union. I was the musical director, composer, and performer. Day for Non also saw a restaging in a toy store, which I think I mentioned, in 1996 or 7 or 8, something like that. I can't remember. The Caucasian Chalk Circle, musical director, performer, directed by Tim Creese, September 1994 at the Union Theatre. Yeah, so that's my theatrical resume up till 1997. I've done a lot more than this since then. I wrote another 10 or so scripts that got produced on stage. And I've written music for I've been writing music for theater and dance like up until this year, So yeah, it was all pretty cool. So yeah, this was just my CV for applying for a grant. But yeah, that's kind of a breakdown of theater work that I did in the 90s. This video is 25 minutes long already. Holy moly. Okay, I'm gonna let this go. That's what I found in the bag today. I hope I'm not trying to brag about what I did. It's just the thing I pulled out of the bag. It was just you know what I mean. But yeah, pretty cool looking back. A lot of those things I don't really remember very well, but that's not really a surprise. Anyhow, Be well. Stay free, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like. If you want to subscribe. That'd be great. And I'll be back with something else that I found in the bag. And other stuff too. You know how it rolls here on the Dirty Pat Walsh channel. Alright. Be well, everybody.